How about...
I can hear your voice now. Yes.
Okay, now can you hear yours is the question.
Yeah. Audio's
Okay,
working.
we're
It's
here,
good,
guys. We're here. Control 9K says, what the fuck? That's not brew. Forrest Dan, beardless 17-year-old brew. Your audio's off. Can hear you now. I knew there were going to be some comments, but
You didn't know there were going to be all the comments.
Sid is very light. Okay, let me try to fix that. Just a sec. That should be better. Sid, say something. I'm just going to adjust my camera angle just once.
Yeah. Yeah, where is Audi? Who knows?
Sorry, yeah, he didn't want to come today. So
Yeah, is Audi even alive?
is Audi alive now? That is a question I cannot answer.
Is this podcast is the
okay, I definitely broke something. Oh, it's Audi's. Never mind. Zoro is fallen, so I can't help that
okay.
anymore now, can I? Let me zoom in. What's up, guys?
Yes,
you can see my face even better now.
Yeah, Bruce gone clean.
Audi got taken by CPS. No, Audi tried to take little kids. That's why he got taken. By the... I mean, sorry. What? That's confidential information. Did he audition to become Jim Hopper? No. Weirdly enough, Audi didn't audition to become Jim Hopper. I don't think Audi can act. You guys, did you forget Audi? You think Audi can act?
If Dwayne Johnson can act, Audi can act.
Audi can't act, even if, like, calling Audi Dwayne Johnson, really? Is that what we've gone to?
Hey, you've seen they're equally big. Come on.
Dwayne Johnson has muscles. You know?
Yeah, but what Audi makes up for that, you know? So yeah, you don't really...
I just hope Audi's not watching this. That's all I can say. Okay, so
looks like he's 16.
Hey. Okay, you know, that's actually a good thing. I look young. I don't look homeless. I look presentable, I would say, because I actually kept my job somehow.
Yes, Bruce still has a job. He's been busy working.
And Audi also has a job, guys. Audi still has his job. Don't worry. It's not like Audi is losing his job. Brew looks like he's 45. Hey, come on. What Murakami books have you read? Sid, what Murakami books have you read?
A couple of them.
Also, I don't even know why Murakami is like the one who gets this quote. Okay, it's supposed to be a Buddha quote. Like I literally have the tattoo on me. Nandemo Theme says you look better before. What? I don't look like your uncle anymore. Is that why? 45 with a 16-year-old deep fake. Should I just wait for the insults to stop? Is that what I should be doing? Just wait.
I don't think it's gonna stop. I think you just need to move on.
Okay. So let's give you some quick updates because you guys are going to be the only ones here. We're not even streaming on Reddit and all that right now. We wanted to do a quick test episode first. So Audi is not going to be joining us anymore, basically.
He's out.
He's
done with life.
He's done with us. And life, yes. Very fair. Like, he's done with life. He's done with life.
We actually asked him, we're like, Audi, do you want to? He's like, no. Before we could finish the question, he said no, right?
Yeah, it was a very quick no, by the way. Like it wasn't even like he didn't even give us a chance. We were like, Audi, we want to do this, but we need you to read stuff, we need you to watch stuff, and we're gonna take it in a different direction as well. And he heard the direction, he's like, no, immediately. No. But does he have a job though? Yeah, he does have a job. He's actually doing well at his job. He's doing 3D modeling every day. He comes home and does 3D modeling at home as well. It's a borderline obsession with 3D modeling.
Yeah.
But is he good at his job? Now that's a question worth posing.
That's for him to come and answer.
If he ever comes. But basically, if Audi comes on to an episode, it's going to be like a guest episode. Because he doesn't want to be a part of what we want to do. He doesn't also have the time to actually read or watch whatever we want to do in terms of anime. So that's another thing. Like, I don't know if he is interested in doing this anymore with the job and all that stuff. But we don't forget. We remember you guys. Hey, I have a job now. That joke doesn't work on me anymore.
When I'm talking about myself, we're jobless. I'm jobless.
All I can say is never trust Sid when he says he's jobless. Anyway, Nandemo breakup. Not really. We're still Nandemo. It's just that Audi has become too busy with real life. So He has ditched us. He has essentially
If you
ditched
guys
us.
remember, we were the original Nandemo.
Yeah, if you guys
Go
do remember,
back in the
we were
day,
back in the day. Yeah,
before Audi.
jobless reincarnation. Nah, we don't talk about that. That's
No,
probably
we don't talk about
Audie's
that.
thing.
Yeah.
That's he likes that.
Hmm.
Oh, so you will read this time. You'll have to ask Sid that. I always read it. You'll have to ask Sid how interested he is in reading.
Yeah, it depends. If it's cool, I'll read it. I've been reading something recently. I did start Solanin.
Solanin?
I said it like a white person.
Yeah.
Solanin. The Inyo Asano manga. Been a
I
while
see.
now.
Yeah. Okay.
Solanin.
Forrest Dan says, by the way, I'm 18 seconds behind, so stop talking. No, we are not going to stop talking. Quran, no, we don't.
Your
We
time.
haven't read the Quran, but we are going to be
Not yet.
talking about something similar. But you guys are really excited. It seems like I've never seen chat go this fast in my life, and I'm really happy for it. But yeah, basically,
Yeah, thank you for being here, by the way.
yeah, like
Before
our
we came
Discord
back
is
after
so
years.
our Discord is so active. It's like warming my heart.
Yes.
I have 5 minutes free time. Make it fast. Okay, cool. So that's the update. Audie is not going to be joining us. We have decided to remove our 3 different formats where we had Christ. We had Indi Adda, which was what we did by the end of it. We were doing only Indi Adda. So we decided not to do all that stuff. And then we decided to just go ahead with Nandemo episode 1. We're rebooting. We're going to be taking it in a different direction and we're rebooting. So it's going to be just different stuff in general. It's not going to be only anime or manga. It's not going to be only our lives. It's going to be something. Who's Control 9K? I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, anyway. But yeah. So basically, what is Control 9K's backstory? You'll have to ask Control 9K. He has only 5 minutes, so maybe he can tell you his backstory. But basically, we also, in the Adda verse format, I hate it. Well, we had a lot of fun with in the Adda, though. I feel like Adda was very fun.
He's just a weeb, dude. He does like anything but weeb shit.
Yeah,
so
I know, right? Forrest Dan, stop being such a weeb.
But
yeah, so we're not doing only anime. We will do anime. It's not like we won't do anime. We're just looking for something that's actually interesting because we went through a lot of different titles and we are like, this it's just cringe. I think is the right word.
Harder for us to like find a new anime and manga that we enjoy because like we basically were just shitting on stuff and I didn't want to keep like just saying I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this. So I was like, yo, let's just
that's fair. We were shitting on
that's
everything.
All we were doing, right? Yeah, exactly.
And Jobless Reincarnation was supposed to be like the manga that everyone is interested in. And I was like, what the fuck are we actually? What is up with random otaku?
I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on that, but yes.
Okay, random otaku. That's not supposed. You're not supposed to be speaking like that. That's bad. But in the Adda was weird. Hey, you don't want to hear about our lives? Like, come on. We have very interesting lives. Like, I'm not even going to try to justify that. Anyway, so we are going to be skipping 18 seconds right. Yeah. Random otaku, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim or not. It's still racist.
No.
My
I'm
God.
Stay out of this.
Yes. Just stop. Muted. Anyway. So we are going to be talking about some philosophical stuff as well because we've really been getting into it again. We've really been looking at a lot of different things. We've been reading up a lot, listening to podcasts and so on. And we thought, hey, we would like to do that as well. So it would be really interesting to talk about because we have so many different topics. Like it's not just any one thing.
Yeah, we can go on for a while. And also like sometimes it's good to, listen to dumbasses talk about something philosophical that we learn from actual philosophers.
Well, fair. Yeah. We are dumbasses and we are basically giving our own opinion on what we learned. I have no idea what's going on in chat right now. I'm going to ignore it all. Forrest Dan, what have you been talking about? Forrest Dan, we're going to be talking about suffering as a concept and how pain is caused by how suffering is caused by pain of different kinds. And this is a topic that has been covered by multiple philosophers, and we, at least me right now, we haven't talked about what we prepared to each other. We only come with a basic outline. So I'm going to talk about Nietzsche. I'm going to be talking about Albert Camus, and I'm going to be talking about Buddha. These three mainly. There's a little bit of Schopenhauer and Sartre involved in all that, but yeah. Yes, and maybe you shouldn't just say it all, because then we won't have any topics left. Like if you just like, you know, like don't
Yes,
just
and I'm
say
going
it.
to be talking about anything and everything.
My God, coming back to Nandemo. But yeah, so let's start with this. I hope everyone is like,
Yes.
yeah, on board with this now. If you find it
Yeah.
interesting, tell us. If you don't find it interesting, tell us. We're going to continue with topics we like anyway, but still.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
Dan is getting ready for a joke. The only topic I care about, the only one and only hell is other people. Yes, of course. You want me to get that quote out on the screen as well? Hell is other people. Let me. Nah, there's no good picture.
Yeah, don't put a random like Pinterest picture designed on Canva or some shit like that.
But yeah, that
Not
we're not going to
necessary.
be talking
Mhm.
about Sartre as much, of course, because like fuck him. No offense meant to any Sartre fans out there. Controlling cases, all right, I'm a dip.
I
Okay,
don't
cool.
think
See you
we have
later.
any. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we're going to start with what is suffering. Sid, what is
What is
suffering according
suffering?
to you? What is the
So
definition of
suffering,
suffering?
suffering can be a lot of things, right? But suffering is mostly like a type of mental anguish,
Or
I would
physical?
say. Yeah, well, physical for me, physical is more pain, right? And suffering is something that's more mental.
But they are like interdependent on
They
each
are
other.
interdependent, yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't connect suffering to something physical. Even though it is related, you feel suffering when there is like physical pain. Like that's one of the reasons, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it is. And there are lots of things I was reading about whether, like, of course everyone suffers, suffering exists, you know in our world, but I was reading about whether also it is necessary or not. So like, is suffering necessary?
Yeah. But
Like, does
okay, wait.
everyone
Let's
need,
let's
right?
go step by step. So suffering. So here's a definition that I found of being, apparently, because I use Microsoft Edge for
Wow,
this.
wow.
The state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. So weapons that cause unnecessary suffering. So if we say hell is brew, says Forrestan, I see. Thanks. Okay, but yeah. So basically, it can be philosophical. It can be mental. It can be physical. That's what
Hmm.
I feel, because like even if you do have pain and that's physical, you're still going to be suffering because of
Yeah,
it.
you're going to be suffering from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I feel like
But
anything can be
yeah, even
suffering.
like, but the exactly, yeah.
Okay.
No,
So
you can suffer based on a lot of reasons. Yeah.
yeah. So
Then you
if we're going
continue.
to be talking about suffering, now that we have a basic definition of suffering,
Hmm.
Sid, what is the first thing you want to talk about? You already said that you want to talk about how pain and suffering relate to each other.
Yeah, we can talk about that. How pain and suffering are related to each other, and like also it's related to what Nietzsche also talks about, right? The mind and the body.
Yes. I will.
Yeah,
Yes,
are
go
you
on.
pulling
You can.
something up?
No, I'm just pulling up some Nietzsche photos so that people
Yeah,
can relate to the big mustache bastard
yeah.
here.
So he said we are composed of two parts, right? The mind and the body. And the
Yes.
body is meant to suffer in the world, and the mind is meant to like bring something beautiful out of that suffering, basically.
Yes.
Because
So he basically said that suffering was essential to
yeah, it's
life.
essential. Yeah, everyone needs to suffer in order to, like, where a lot of you get a lot of like, I think most, like, yeah, even if you see religions, they talk about how like you need like eternal salvation to free or like the way of suffering in this world and all that, right? Like
Yeah.
you need to pray or whatever to, attain to freedom from this suffering in some way or the other, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of philosophers also say that, like, yeah, suffering is necessary. Suffering is what everyone goes through, and you'll have to basically that's what makes things worthwhile apparently in some way.
Yeah, so
Right.
basically all the philosophers just agree
Hmm.
on one base point, which is
Hmm.
that life is suffering. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single philosopher who's like, life is dandy, life is great. No, they're all like, life is suffering. You're going to
Hmm.
suffer.
Hmm.
Existence is pain.
Yeah, even
For the
he
Rick
said
and
like
Morty
even
fans out there,
Rick and Morty. No, even Nietzsche even said like even like giving birth, even the process of that like involves a lot of pain and suffering. So he uses that also as like a metaphor, saying like, look, you start with suffering, it ends with suffering. Like the whole thing is suffering.
okay, one sec. First one says, if people can choose to suffer, you can never make anyone suffer, provided their environment isn't the definition of suffering. And Nandemo Theme says, we're all going to suffer no matter what. Yeah, we are all going to suffer no matter what, which is what a lot of people agree upon. But it's also about what the suffering means and how the suffering can help or not help you. And First one says, no, they don't. Okay, okay, maybe not every philosopher, but majority of them, especially existentialists and absurdists and
Yeah, yeah.
anyone from the Buddhist age, was
We're not
everyone
talking
agreed
about like
on.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, Nietzsche had some very interesting thoughts, but I would actually go back to Buddha because Nietzsche was very, very inspired by Buddha in the
Hmm,
first
hmm,
place.
hmm.
So Nietzsche
Yeah.
proclaimed that Ranutaka says happiness cannot come without suffering. Well, with that again depends, because if you believe in a religion, if you believe in a God who is meant to give you eternal happiness in the afterlife,
Yeah.
then that means that you are believing in a place where there is no suffering and there is only happiness, right?
Yeah, exactly. You believe that, if you go through life,
Yeah, if you
being
go through life
faithful
in a
to the
certain way,
religion.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
So I mean,
So,
it's not necessary
Mhm.
that you can't get happiness without suffering, because a lot of people
Mhm.
do. There's the memory of suffering. Okay, that's we're going into like different territory here already, but I like it
No,
anyway.
but we can go into tangents. That's
Yeah,
okay. But yeah.
but no, I
Hmm.
would just like to talk about Buddha, because like the whole idea of Nietzsche's Übermensch, which is the above man, which he
Hmm, hmm,
said
hmm.
was a person who created their own rules and lived their own life in their own way,
Yeah.
was basically a better man than most.
Hmm,
And
hmm,
he
hmm.
considered only Buddha to be an Übermensch. He didn't even consider himself to be an
Hmm,
Übermensch,
hmm.
but he considered Buddha to be an Übermensch. He considered Buddha to be like an insane person in general.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Hmm.
his thinking also comes from Buddha. And Nietzsche, in return, inspired Albert Camus, the famous absurdist, the myth of
Yeah.
Sisyphus.
Hmm.
And so that all three are related. This is why I wanted to focus on these three, but
Hmm.
we can also talk about other people
And
that you
even
want
before
as
that,
well.
for like the concept of body and mind
Yeah.
and like being separate, he got that from Descartes, right?
Yeah.
So
But I
it's
mean,
like
I wouldn't even say
building
Descartes was the
on.
guy who brought it up, because like it goes back to Saint Augustine with Christianity and talking about how the body
Yeah,
and
yeah,
mind are
of course.
separate and
Yeah.
all that.
But he has the popular like book, right? The
Yeah,
duality of
duality
body
of,
and
yeah.
mind. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah,
But yeah,
Buddha had some very interesting thoughts on suffering, which is that he said that suffering comes because of desire. He said that desire is what
yeah,
brings about
yeah.
suffering of all kinds. And wow, these guys are having their own conversation. Okay, we'll get to the comments in a second. But
I know.
basically, he said that if you
Damn,
have
I just saw
any
a stream. Sorry, Nietzsche looks fucking pissed. I hadn't seen the picture. But yeah, what
okay,
do you say?
but
Continue.
yeah, Buddha basically said that we need to rise above the suffering, and that there was no way to actually stop suffering.
Hmm.
It was only that you could get over it. Basically, he basically said, just stop wanting things, bro. And
Yeah.
that was his entire philosophy over there, you could say. I mean, it's oversimplified, but Buddha's answer
But
to suffering was basically to remove desire, remove wants, remove needs that you have in life.
and keep doing that, because like also like he
Yeah,
believed in rebirth, and if you believe in rebirth and constant suffering, so you need to always like live that way,
yeah. and
technically, to
and if
be
you
like.
don't live that way, but I mean, but then again, the fact that
Mhm.
he said that you need to do it for one lifetime and the cycle of rebirth stops.
Yeah.
So he never said that you will keep being reborn even if you do it once and you live a life
No,
of
but yeah,
nirvana.
he said that, but I'm saying the way yeah,
Humans look at
people
life in
it's
general.
yeah, exactly the way
Yeah,
humans look at life, right?
yeah. So yeah,
Because
we
even
need to
though a
do
lot
it
of humans,
consistently.
yeah, because of course not a lot of you like nowadays modern society like are gonna give up their
Yeah, is it even possible to live like
Yeah, it's
Buddha told us
impossible
to? Is there
because you
any
can't
way that we
survive
can
in
do it?
modern society without depending on society,
Yeah, but
like for
Buddha never
anything.
said don't depend
Hmm.
on society, because he still, like Buddhists at the time always got their alms from people and they would eat whatever they were given, but they would only eat a
Oh
little
no,
bit and they would
no,
not.
not that way. I'm saying like people like suppose the world you've grown up in, right? These there are
Yeah.
lots of things you're dependent on and lots of like so-called pleasures and things that you want that you think are like necessary for you but actually aren't. You know,
Well, there are a few things that
like do
are
you really need
necessary.
an AC? No,
Hey,
but
okay,
yeah,
there are
just in
heat
case.
waves all over the world, and climate change is being a real
It's
bitch at the
raining out
time.
right now. It's like a nice like
Yeah, I don't
24
use the
degrees.
AC
It's
when it's
pretty
raining. I
chill.
use it when the sun is beating down upon my face.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool
But yeah,
now.
anyways.
But yeah, I mean, there are other things like I don't have AC
Yeah,
on.
there
Yeah,
are
you don't
lots
need
of other
AC now.
things.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a cool season. Okay, how
Hmm.
lame, bro. He
Hmm.
says. Also, I saw a funny post the other day. Some terminally ill philosopher disagreed with Nietzsche, saying that suffering plagues life or something along those lines. There were a lot of people who actually disagreed with Nietzsche. Says that, and people said that suffering does actually plague life and not really help it. I think Schopenhauer was also someone who said that like suffering sucks and it's going to happen to you, so just give up on life. Like you don't need to live. Also,
Yeah.
interesting fact: Schopenhauer was hated so much that his own mother sent him a letter talking about how much she hated him.
Damn.
She actually sent him a letter saying, "You are like nobody can stand you. Like you need to chill out a little in life. Just shut the fuck up."
Hmm.
And he
Wow.
considered that more suffering in his life. I haven't had an AC
Yeah,
on in the
like
daytime for almost a year or something. Yeah, neither have I. What are you
same.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Bro.
But I go to work. Okay, the work has air
Hmm.
conditioning. I don't keep the AC on in my house. I don't control the AC at
Yeah.
work. But anyway,
Yeah, makes sense. Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, if there are things that all of us do, there are
Hmm.
vices that all of us have, and there are certain things that Buddha allegedly originally told that we cannot live without.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm. Hmm.
is there a way to live the life of a Buddhist monk? Because there are people doing it. There are still monks who are practicing every day to attain nirvana. So
Oh
how
yeah, there
how
are still.
how
Hmm.
possible do you think it is for someone to actually follow that path and live a life of peace? Because there's no guarantee that you're never, like, if you, especially if you go from a
See,
city like a busy city like Mumbai or something,
yeah.
and then you go and live a Buddhist life in a mountain somewhere, will you ever be able to get rid of that desire to have those things in your life?
No, but the thing is, like, I think you still do, like, you do have suffering in your life. You also do have moments of peace, like, even like our modern society version of it, right? Not like ultimate enlightenment or something, but people still do have moments of peace in their life, right?
They have moments of peace, but never
Yeah.
like acceptance of
But the thing
life.
is, yeah, but nowadays, with the way life is, do people really like want peace all the time? Like, because you put yourself in a lot of situations for reasons where you also don't yet
But
like it's not a peaceful like in like every decision of like suppose you hate your job and you're like going to work or something, right? Like
can't
it's
relate,
a
but sure.
decision you made for yourself because you need the money to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, I
So
need
in
the
that
money to
way you're like
survive. I need
putting
to make
yourself
sure I'm
into
fine.
suffering.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I am putting
Yeah.
myself into suffering. But then if I don't have the job, then I'm going to
For
also
what
suffer a
though?
lot more.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to suffer, but you're putting yourself through that for what? For peace? No, for more
No.
suffering.
Yeah, for more suffering, for
Yeah,
for
for more
vices,
suffering.
for food, for a house,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
roof above
And
my
those
head.
vices, do those vices give you peace?
No,
In like
they
in the
lead to
sense
more
that it
suffering and more depression,
exactly.
and then you want to kill yourself at all times.
So, no peace till you die, basically.
Basically, so basically, what you're saying is the modern world sucks. Nobody's going to be happy. We should all just die. Nandemo Theme
No,
says happiness
100%.
is when the suffering temporarily stops. That is how we get happy, by appreciating the temporary happiness. But that's the thing. Buddha said that everything is temporary. Happiness is not the
Yeah,
only thing that's temporary. Sadness is
Mhm.
also temporary. Everything is all your moods are temporary. Anger is temporary, but again, if you act on each of these moods, if you make decisions based on each of these moods, then you have a problem. Then you're
Then
causing yourself
yeah.
more suffering by the end of it. And Forrest Dan covered that. I see breaks between suffering result in the suffering being temporary as well. By the way, I doubt the majority of people suffer more than they feel happiness. So most would have more peace than suffering. Well, then now, though nowadays, like Sid is saying, a lot of people are personally avoiding peace, but for more shallow, egoistical reasons. I mean, sure, purposefully avoiding peace. Okay, yeah, I mean, sure. But then again, it's not like people don't want the peace. They want the peace, but they don't realize that the path they're on is not going to lead them to the peace at the end of the day. So is it really
Yeah.
purposefully ignoring peace when they're trying their best to get the peace, but they're not able to?
Or is it because of the way our society is built now and what people have to do that
Yeah,
it
in a
is,
fully
like,
capitalistic
difficult for
world where
people,
you
like,
have to just
to
get
find
stuff.
exactly, is it difficult to find peace without breaking out of that? And breaking out of that is like almost, it's
Impossible.
very difficult for people to survive.
Yeah.
There are people who still do it, who like go out in the forest and like live on their own
So
farming and
I
stuff, but
thought
it's
about
very, very,
that.
very rare.
I thought about that. And did you know that if you go off into a random forest, which if you don't know which forest is owned by which government or which entity of any point,
Oh yeah.
in most forests, they are allowed to kill you at sight if you're not supposed to be there, or if you're
You're talking
there
about India, right?
in a lot of countries. So if you go
Yeah.
off to a
There are
forest which
people who
is
still do it
considered
in a few
government
countries, but yeah.
property, then they can actually shoot you at sight. So there was
See that.
like
Yeah,
it happened.
in a lot of countries, government property, like forests are government, but in like a lot of countries also, like it is owned by the government, but the people can like do whatever they want, like
Can you
there.
go
Like
live
in
in a
India,
forest?
yeah, you can do it in a lot
Forest
of
Dan
places
says
in
living in
Europe.
the
You can do it
forest
in
isn't
Japan.
peace. We're not
Yeah,
saying that living in the forest is peace. We're
no,
saying
it's
it's easier
living
to distract
by
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly. It's like going and like traveling and like climbing a mountain alone, or like you're by yourself, like you don't have to do any, you don't have to go to work the next day, so that may be like a moment of peace you're having, right?
and it also gives you
It's
the
possible.
solitude and the freedom of distractions, because there's not, I mean, what are you going to do in a
Yeah,
forest? Like you're not going to you're not going to get a phone or TV over
there's
there to
nothing.
distract you
Yeah, you're
constantly.
like, you just like cook your food, like plant, like just grow plants, cook, like do whatever, just live your life free of anything and
Yeah.
everything.
Forrest Gump says living normally without constantly thinking that your suffering is peace, or enjoying stuff is peace. But that's the thing, enjoying stuff is again temporary, and living normally without constantly thinking that you're suffering is ignoring the fact that you are actually suffering, because
And the
suffering
thing
is
is,
real.
like, yeah, it is real. And also like the moment he's talking about is probably when you're a kid, when you're like dependent on your parents and you're like, I'll get whatever I want,
Yeah.
like like how kids are, but then your parents are suffering to get you shit.
That's true. I really understand the shit my parents went through. Like I remember my dad telling me like, hey, you know what, my job really sucks. I need you guys to like appreciate the shit I get you more. I'm like, oh, old man, just do your fucking job. Everyone works. And I go to work and I'm like, oh, Christ on the stick.
And
I
also,
can't do this.
not all kids are that fortunate. Like a lot of kids go suffering like straight out from the beginning,
Yeah. Basically, suffering is the thought that you are suffering, though. No, not really. It's not only a thought. Suffering is not purely mental. It's not purely. That's what I'm saying. If you get shot by an arrow in your stomach, that you're going to suffer, irrespective of what. You're
Oh,
going
yeah,
to
you're going to
suffer.
suffer. No, I was reading this book, this part of a book. It's by Cassell. It's called
Okay.
like Suffering in Humanity in regards to medicine. I forgot the exact name,
Mm-hmm.
but he was talking about it because he's like a doctor. He was talking about it in more like a medical way, where he was like,
Yeah.
suffering, when you feel pain, is basically the body trying to preserve its like intactness as a human. Like, oh shit, I won't be myself anymore. I won't be human, because
Yeah.
if this
That's
leads
very
to something
interesting, actually.
serious, yeah, because if this leads to something like serious, or like if you're in a hospital, right, then your body's way of suffering is basically trying to tell you that it's distress associated with you being like
Your
not
sense
being
of
able to be
self.
yourself anymore, yeah, a person anymore. And
Very
that's why your
interesting.
mind is like, yeah, your brain goes into that mode,
I've never
because
thought of it that way, actually.
yeah, because it is like, again, our brain like telling us, feeling pain, like the nerves may be a way of like, oh, you need to survive, look, you're hurt, like you're not gonna be here anymore, kind of thing.
My God. So what is it's just like scared of death at the end of the day? Your body is just like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you got bit by an ant, you're
That's
gonna
why we
die.
feel pain, right, because they're like, oh shit, something's fucking wrong.
Okay, wait, a couple of comments. So, Nandemo Theme says biryani is happiness. Well, I really appreciate your love for biryani, Nandemo Theme. The problem with that is, let's say you feel happy eating biryani, and then you just continue eating biryani for the rest of your life. You're not going to be happy at some point. Like, you're just going to suffer at some point. You're going to be like, I'm tired of biryani. Or if someone made you eat biryani for like
Yeah.
3 hours straight, you would be like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
And yeah, food does bring like small moments of happiness, like you could say. Of course, like even we enjoy, going out and
Yeah.
eating, and even cooking is like
Really fun. Yeah.
And but for a lot of people it also isn't. But yeah, for us it's fun.
Yeah. And Dan says if you're distracted by other stuff, which is pretty much everything you have to do, no suffering. But what do you have to do? But in the context, people living in civilization are definitely not getting shot. Very false. Or beaten up. Very false. Or experiencing physical pain for most of the time. Unless you want to talk science and say that even the feeling of suffering is physical. No, let's talk about just suffering physical pain. Okay. And I'm not even that old. I'm like 27 now. And I'm having like terrible back problems. Like it started with moving houses and then helping my office shift. And I've been having severe back pain since then. And the weird part is I've looked around. I've asked a few people. Almost everyone I've asked who is my age has some issue, some physical pain that they're going through every single day. Every single day, there's either back issues or they're like bone issues or they're like, I don't know, the leg issues. So it's feeling physical pain is a very normal human thing. Every human feels it after a certain point in life.
Like bro, even to make the counter argument, like suppose like people say maybe you feel pain because like you're not fit, you don't exercise, but you also feel pain when you're exercising because
That's
you're
true.
like tearing your muscle fibers, but it's like a different kind of pain. Of course, I'm not saying it's
And
the
a lot
same
of people
thing as
do
like
enjoy
back pain.
that pain.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
like
also
a
weird
good
to
pain.
me.
You describe it as being sore, like it feels good after a workout, like it's not like it's not as bad as a back pain, but it's still
Yeah.
pain, you would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
like guys, I'm
again,
so old
yeah,
that I
I
slept
understand.
weirdly on my pinky yesterday and it's sprained. It's like really sprained. It hurts like a motherfucker. I can't bend it. Okay, I can't bend it at all. It hurts real bad. But anyway, Dan says I haven't suffered inflicted physical pain in quite some time. Keyword inflicted. I mean, yeah, sure. It's not. I wouldn't say everyone is getting shot in the streets, but
Yeah,
if
it's
you live
not
in the
about
US,
being
you
shot,
do have
yeah.
a very good chance of getting shot or having like serious medical conditions. I guess that kind of back pain does count as suffering. Yeah, I mean, exactly. And it's not just back pain, it's arm pain, it's leg pain, it's brain pain. Like depression is a real problem. And Control NK just says weak. Because I have back issues or because my finger is screwed?
And the thing is, when you are in pain is when you are thinking about fuck, like this fucking sucks, right?
Yeah,
But when you're
exactly.
out of it, like you don't give a fuck. You're like it's like when you have a fever, you're like, fuck, if only I felt good, like if only
Yeah.
this headache went away. And
And then when
it's
you're
gone,
fine, you're like, yeah, I take it for
I'm fine.
granted. Fuck
Who gives a
that. Yeah,
fuck?
who gives a fuck?
We
How would
instantly forget about the suffering.
So Dan says, how would you define mental suffering since that's all that matters when you're talking philosophy? Not really. It's not only about mental suffering. Philosophy is largely to do with mental suffering, but it also has a lot to do with physical suffering because that is something covered by all these philosophers as well. But okay,
Yeah.
mental suffering can be, physical pain doesn't go away no matter what you do. Yeah, it doesn't go away. I would agree with the fact that it doesn't go away, but there are a lot of things
We have
in
drugs now. Well, it takes care of physical pain.
Yeah, okay, you know what, Dan, that is a fair point. I'm just going to talk about mental
because,
suffering
like, if you
before
think
Sid
about,
goes into the
what
morphine
Nietzsche was saying,
morphine
what
talk.
Nietzsche was talking about, like, oh, how even giving birth is painful. Now they have like epidural and they just put that into your spine and like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there are ways to counter physical pain.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. But even the fact that that sometimes physical pain is self-induced by different reasons. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
might go cycling and I might just fall down and I might be in pain, and that definitely counts as suffering. Weed is
Yeah,
cure
of
all.
course it does.
Well, I wouldn't know because I never do illegal things in my life. But from the things I've heard from other people who do these illegal things,
Oh, yes, of course.
yeah, it's supposed to be really good. Yes.
Yeah, dude, anything small, even like, like when you stub your toe on the corner of a table, that's
Exactly.
fucking
I mean,
suffering.
I stubbed
Yeah.
my toe the day I had to go to the second day or the third day I had to go to work, and I actually
Mhm.
think I broke it and just ignored it until it fixed itself, because
My God.
no one suffers because of mild pain. That's not really true though, again, because even mild pain
Depends on
causes
the
you
degree.
discomfort,
Yeah.
which can be
Yeah.
counted as suffering, because you're actively thinking about, like, oh my god, it hurts, like, oh my god, this is so uncomfortable, oh my god, why I wish this didn't happen. So that's always there. But anyway, if we get into, I wouldn't say I get particularly sad after stubbing a toe. Yeah, but it's not about
Mm.
sad. It's about suffering. Are you really suffering, or what the Buddha called?
Mhm.
I have heard the Americans say dukkha.
Do they say that? That
Yeah,
sounds,
they say it in a
the
very
k doesn't sound very
dukkha,
American.
dukkha. But either way, yeah. But suffering is,
But
yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you in the sense that suffering is largely mental when it comes to philosophy. So we can talk about
Mm.
that as well. So again, Buddha said it has to be avoided. It not avoided. It has to be confronted. It has to be. You have to rise above it in some way, and you have to give up
Mm.
what causes the suffering in the first place. And he said that it's always something that you desire that causes suffering. You want something new. You want that. You're lustful. You want to drink. You want some. Well, I don't want to drink, but you want some substance in your body that when it makes you feel better temporarily. So, what do you think, Sid? Do you think that all these things actually do count towards suffering?
Sorry, what I zoned out.
I
Can you
see.
repeat?
I was just saying, Buddha said that it,
Hmm.
it's always something you want. Like it could be a new
Oh,
job.
you
It could
want?
be it could
Okay. Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
alcohol. It could
Mhm.
be some new toy that you want, in
Mhm.
the sense of like it could be anything. Technology. It could be
Oh,
like a
that way.
chariot,
Okay.
probably at his time. It could be
So I would
gluttony,
say
lust, so on.
in modern, okay, apart from like the seven sins or whatever, the things that we need, like the thing is, do you want a job or do you need a job?
Yeah, I mean that's the question. Do you
Yeah, because if
do
you
you need
need
a
a
job?
job, then like,
You I think I would say you need a job.
yeah, you need a job because I can be like, oh, I don't need a job, I'll just like sleep on the road till I die. Like, that's, you can't do that. Like, you need a job, right, to live in modern society, unless until you're like okay with just like, living life like a nomad, just walking around like begging for alms and living that way. I don't know if you can live like that, or maybe it's just our upbringing that prevents us to endure that suffering to live that way. So we're like, to avoid that, we need a job, so we'd rather go through like the job suffering than to like being homeless suffering.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
Random Otaku says, "Yeah, I never got the toy I wanted. I'm sorry, Random Otaku. If we make it big, I will buy you the toy you want."
Yes.
You could want a better job that is called greed. I wouldn't agree with greed. What if your job is just pain every day? You're like you're physically can't, you're not able to do it. It's taxing to travel back and forth. It's mentally
And also,
taxing to do the job and deal with all these people. And you wanting a better job is not necessarily greed. It could just be you wanting a better living situation for yourself.
yeah, just wanting like more money basically. And also, like, even if it's something that you like doing or are good in, you still suffer to an extent to improve yourself
Of
in that
course.
field.
I
Like,
mean, there
the
are,
thing where people say like, oh, if you love what you do, you haven't worked a day in your life. That's like fucking bullshit.
yeah,
You suffer if you love
especially if
what
you're
you do, you
working with
suffer.
other people.
Yeah, you fucking
Yeah.
suffer.
And
It takes
Forrest says people do live like that and live for a while, so you don't need it. Well, yeah, you're going to suffer like crazy before you die. And I don't even mean that in the philosophical sense. You're actually going to like suffer. You're going to be in pain. You're going to be a little shell of yourself. Your bones are going to be coming out of your body, and you're just going to die of hunger and not having enough water unless you drink like sewer water or something. And Random
yeah.
Otaku says greed. Greed is when you want more and more or better and better. More and more is greed. Better and better is not necessarily greed, because it also depends on what you have right now. Like if I got like shit thrown at me every day and I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't get shit thrown at me every day. You can't call me greedy for that. That's just like me
Yeah.
not wanting shit thrown on me.
And also, yeah, and also like even eating like, an extra meal a day because we like something. Like, do you call that greed, or do you call like, oh, I just wanted to have noodles, so I made noodles?
Yeah, like you made ramen before coming to watch this podcast. So Why did you make ramen? Is it greed that caused you to make ramen in the first place?
I wish I made ramen.
Well, I
But
made
the
some
thing is, like,
sandwiches.
see, like before, like, hunter gatherers used to have like one meal every few days, right? And before
Yeah.
that, even breakfast wasn't a thing, like if you see years and
Yeah,
years
of
ago.
course.
And now people eat 3 meals a day, 5 meals a day. Like, is this greed? No, right?
Of course
You
not.
think it's
Yeah.
greed? No. Yeah,
Why,
maybe overeating, like to an extent where it's affecting your health.
yeah, that would be
Maybe
greed.
you can call
I
that
feel like
greed.
we're
Yeah,
talking a
right.
lot about Audi when
Hmm.
he's not here. For instance, his greed is unnecessarily wanting more in a way that rather than reducing
Hmm.
negative feelings, only increases positive feelings. But yeah, imagine calling instant noodles
But do
ramen.
you
What an
call?
otaku.
Yeah.
I could have had tortilla and chicken, but I wanted ramen. But why do you want ramen or why do you even want the tortilla and the chicken when you could just be, I don't know,
Hmm.
eating the chicken
Hmm.
raw? Is cooking something greed then, according to you? Because you're trying to
Well,
get
does it
something
release
better?
your suffering? Like, if hunger is suffering, like, will eating anything release it, or like a specific favorite food that you like, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
will
that
that
is
give
a
you
very
more
good point because
like,
you can have preferences, but I wouldn't necessarily call that greed. You would die. See, see, here's the thing: Audi can eat raw chicken without even batting an eye. Okay, I've seen him do it. I've seen him just take like shredded chicken and pop it into his mouth like it was chips, and he was surprisingly fine right afterwards.
Yes.
Oh wait, we have
Or
viewer on Twitch.
oh, what's up?
Anjane, how do you define suffering in our modern life and deal with suffering? And brew, why your coffee so bad? Ah, man, I don't associate myself with that name. Okay, that the brand stole my name, and I can't do anything about it. So
Ooh, I'd
that's
forgotten. I just
unfortunate.
remembered. I'm like, coffee. Okay,
It's
yeah, bro, your coffee fucking sucks
it's
ass.
bad. Yeah, it's really bad. I can't help it.
They don't even call it coffee. They just say brew.
Yeah, it's an
Hmm.
abomination basically.
Hmm.
How is it that every time we get someone who watches us, the first thing they want to do is insult me?
I don't know, dude.
Okay, but how do you define suffering in our modern life and deal with suffering?
I've been
Defining
talking
suffering in our
about it
modern life is like insane because like you would
everywhere.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
everywhere. Like I would say I suffer on a regular basis every day
Hmm.
because I suffer from depression. I mean that's what they say, right? You suffer from something.
Yeah, they use the word suffer. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And the thing is, like, you do suffer a lot in your even every day, but how many times are you consciously thinking like I am suffering, then just like going through it without thinking like, yeah, it's just how it is,
I'm
kind of
thinking
thing,
I'm
right?
thinking it constantly. I'm
Hmm.
like I just sit there. I'm like, okay, I have to work with this person today, and they're like they're
Hmm.
like just not okay with anything. No matter how many times I
Uh-huh.
rework it, I'm like, I'm suffering. And then I come back home, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm like, I'm suffering.
Yes.
And then
Hmm.
I reach home, and then I have to lie down because I can't even stand because of my back. I'm like, I am suffering. Yes. So it comes up a fair number
It
of
comes.
times in
And
my
also,
day.
see, you brought up a very interesting point, which is like involuntary suffering, like being stuck in traffic. Is that suffering of your choosing? No, but you're just there
No, but
and you
it is
have
suffering of
to,
my choosing in a way because I chose to go
because you
get this
to
job.
go
I
to work.
chose to go to work.
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then again,
So
if
not
I
being in
chose to
traffic
get work
would
from
be
home,
like,
Nandemo Theme would say that's greed.
no, but no, but you can have days where like there's no traffic, or is there traffic every day
There's
when you
traffic
go
every day.
when
With the
you come
rain,
and
especially, there's
only.
traffic every single day.
Hmm.
And to go back to the question, so that's how I would define suffering in modern life. It can be anything and everything, and it is Nandemo. Ha! Anyway, it can be
Yeah.
anything and everything because, like, I would say that school kids, like, a lot of people say, like, oh, you're in school, you don't even know what the real world is like. I'm like, dude, why do you want to make people think that the real world is just that bad that they're going to grow up to hate things more than they already do? And school kids already hate
Yeah.
life. Okay, most of them are like, fuck, I have to worry about my friends, I have to worry about my enemies, I have to worry about like who I hate and who's going to unfriend me tomorrow and who's going to
And
bully me.
and in a lot of cases, like, oh shit, I need to get good marks, or my parents are gonna whip my
Yeah,
ass.
of course, that's like a
Yeah.
given. And it's like, okay, now I have a crush on this person. Do they like me back, or do they like someone else? All
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit, I would consider that
Yeah,
suffering as
exactly.
well. Because like I went through a lot of shit in school. Sid went through a lot of shit in school, so I can safely say that both of us suffered like crazy in school. But
Mm.
even the people who are doing well were not really doing great. They were constantly flustered. They were constantly stressed about something or the
Oh
other,
yeah.
right? So I feel like we've, as a society, we've gotten to the point where suffering has just become a daily part of life, where everyone is just like,
Mhm.
you're going to suffer, just deal with it. Suffer,
just
suffer, suffer
expected,
until you're dead. That's it.
Yeah, you just have to like just expect it. You can't choose, or you don't have a choice. Basically, it's just coming for you.
Exactly. And as to, okay, Nandemo goes back, and Forrest then wanted to go on Twitch, and then he came back to YouTube. Okay, but he said, lie, fake, get him to do it on stream. Okay, you know what? Next time Audi comes on stream, I'm going to make him eat the raw chicken. Like, nobody's believing me on this story, and I find it very
He has
sad
eaten
because it
raw
happened in
chicken.
front of me. And Nandemo, what does it even mean though? Nandemo means anything and everything. That's what it means. But yeah,
Yeah,
100%
dude.
guaranteed attitude depressions. Let's see. I don't hate life other than my class teacher. Yeah, you don't. I'm not saying you hate life. I'm just saying that you are suffering in some way or the other, right? Like if you hate your class teacher, why do you hate her? The poor woman is just doing her job, but
Maybe she
she's
hates her job too.
yeah, of course she does. Like
Yeah.
I've very rarely met a happy teacher, not because of the kids, but because they're like underappreciated and underpaid most of the time. So they're
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
dude, I really want to teach people, but fuck, it's so hard. I can't make a living
Yeah.
off this. And I have had teachers who have worked in companies and just come to teach, making time just to teach something of their interest. But yeah, and as for how to deal with suffering, I honestly do not have an answer. I honestly don't.
Well, I guess everyone deals with it in their own
Differently,
way.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there is no one ultimate answer for how to deal
Yeah,
with
there is
suffering.
definitely
There's
not
just like
one
most
answer.
people just like be like, yeah, I gotta get through it, I guess. And hopefully I arrive, on the other side. That's how they go about it, right?
I mean, I think the way most people avoid suffering is by trying to get more and more money until they can buy that comfort for themselves. Where they're like, okay, like for example, like, okay, I need to go in a cab, like I need to go in an auto, I need to go to work. It's uncomfortable. So what if I just buy a car and I take the car to work?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but my back is hurting because I'm going from work to home and home to work. What if I just shift closer to work and just buy a bigger place?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's this thing. So it reminds me, when I was doing research for this. So Kafka, right, the
Yeah.
author. I have another weird angle of suffering with Kafka, which we'll talk about later. But this one, he said, based on what you're talking about, where like you try to hold yourself back from expected sufferings, that you
Yeah.
come across in the world, but holding yourself back in a way causes suffering, So
Exactly.
you're suffering in order to avoid more suffering.
Exactly. And that just makes no sense because you're going to be suffering when you
Yeah.
reach that point anyway.
Exactly.
Like once I think that's
So
what
why
becomes the
suffer
greed that
extra on
Random
the way
Otaku was
there?
talking about. Exactly. You're just suffering extra because you're like, okay, I need to get the car, and then I need to work harder, and then you're like, oh fuck, I have to work harder. Oh my god, it's so hard. And then you finally get the car, and you're like, okay, now I need to maintain this freaking car. I need to pay for gas and shit.
Insurance.
Yeah, insurance. So I need to keep working hard so that I can continue this quality of lifestyle. And then it just goes to shit at the end of the day. Like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what happened here? Oh, sorry, one sec, my monitor just switched off. But yeah, I mean, it's
live, right? Though?
Yeah, we're live. It's just my monitor. But yeah, I mean, there is no way to like deal with suffering in the modern world, I feel, because irrespective of what you do, you're going to face some shit along the way, and there's going to be something that's going to that's going to make you feel like you can't deal with it. Like I know there's multiple situations right now that I'm facing that I'm like, bro, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this shit. Just no fucking idea. I'm just ready to give up.
And dealing with it is a solution that will cause more like mental suffering for you. Even thinking about it, you're like, what should I do? How should I
Exactly.
do? It's like painful in a way.
Exactly. But I would
It's
say
just going like head on into it.
But to make sure that our new viewer doesn't just leave thinking, okay, these idiots have no idea what they're talking about, there are things that you can do. Which is true, yes, of course. I can't deny that. But there are certain things that I think can help with dealing with suffering, which is, I mean, something like reading about philosophy in general, I think has been very, very helpful for me in particular. or at least understanding what the. I feel like everyone should question the meaning of life
But
and
no,
go
but
through
here,
that.
bro.
Yeah,
So according to you, realization helps. You're saying,
yeah.
but don't you think ignorance also helps? Like if you don't know you're suffering, like does
But
that help,
who
or
in
is
the
it
world doesn't know that they're suffering?
no? A lot of people where like it's just part of the daily grind. They know they have to live that way. They have
Yeah,
their
but I
life
mean, they're
set in
still
front of
going
them.
through it. They're just not
Yeah, they're going
questioning it.
through it. Yeah, exactly. Like how you think you're like, oh, when I'm working, I'm like, oh, I have to work with this person, it's suffering. Maybe someone's like, yeah, I just have to do it, so I'm doing it like zombie mode. Like so,
Exactly, but zombie
because
mode
they're
is not.
deeper into it, are they like we call it zombie mode, but for them it's just like I'm just doing what I have to do in life. So for them, is it like is it because they're ignorant, is it helping them, or or because we realize something, is it more painful for us? Because
Sorry,
sometimes
just
knowing
once.
more is also painful.
Sorry, just just
What?
just to. I'm very sorry to interrupt, but Forrest Dan very nicely said, "If I was your teacher, I'd only scold you with a smiley face to random
Oh
otaku."
my god.
But yeah, I mean, again, would you say that these people who are just going through lives, going through the motion, are actually living and experiencing something, and actually conscious about it, or are they just like, life sucks, just accept it and move on? Are they really
Yeah, they
moving
accept
on
it
after
and they
accepting it? They're just like, life sucks. And if you ask them at any
no
time, they're like, life
maybe
sucks.
no see maybe they don't have like a threshold, like a bar for life, high or low. It's like this is life and this is it. Maybe it's like if it's worse than that, it sucks, but for them it is what it is, and they're like, yeah, it's chill.
Oh my God,
So
it's your
maybe if they
favorite
wanted
freaking line.
more,
It is what it is.
no, maybe
I'm just going to pause
if they
my camera for
wanted
one
like
sec. Yeah, go
a
on.
better life than they have, they would be like, okay, yeah, maybe like my life sucks because I want something better than this.
But they do
Maybe
want
because they're
something,
ignorant
right?
to
They
it.
do want, everyone wants a better life
Yeah,
all the
everyone
time.
wants something, that's true. But a lot of people are also like happy with the lives they have. But is that also just like something they have told themselves, like, yeah, I'm just happy, the way I am? Because they also must have wanted something at some point and maybe have given up on it, right?
Yeah, like because they can't, there's no way for them to get it, or maybe they have to suffer a lot to get it.
Yeah, so they're like, it's chill, I'll just like live the way I am, right?
Yeah, but
Because
and
that goes back to
Forrest
the
Dan says
Buddhist thing
Sid
of
goes zombie mode, and I've never seen a more accurate line about Sid in my life.
what do you mean I go zombie mode?
Sid goes zombie mode like all the time.
Yeah, maybe. My brain does stop working most of the time.
Anytime he's not even slightly interested in a project, he goes zombie mode.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm unemployed, right, bro? Like I said.
Oh yeah, of course you're unemployed, Sid. But Random Otaku says, whenever I sleep for real, my brain is like, are we in a simulation? If the Big Bang really started the universe, where did the energy come from? How did life come to be? Where did life come from? If it's just from Earth, then why not from other planets? And what is genetics? What is biological memory? Okay, you're asking a lot of. It's
Came to
good that
the
you're
right
asking
place.
these
We are like
questions.
we have PhDs in all these topics. How
Of
did you
course
know?
we do. So basically, the Big Bang started when because there was like a thingy, and then the thingy became another thingy, and then the two thingies collided, and that is how babies are
It's all
born.
about the thingies. Yeah, it's all about the thingies. That's the scientific term we use over here.
Yeah, and Anjane also asked, "Do you think suffering and happiness are intertwined?" Yes, this is we actually
Yeah.
covered it a little bit
Hmm.
before as well, but they are intertwined, but not in the sense that one causes the other. I would say pain and suffering are intertwined. Yeah, my
One
camera is
doesn't
my
cause.
camera is just done because like I have to adjust my wires, and my camera wire is disconnected right now. So sorry, it'll be back in like 2 minutes. But
No,
yeah,
even the thing about we are like they say a lot, like you hear like you're happy because you suffer. Like people laugh because they know they're gonna die someday, kind of thing. Because if you were immortal and you were never gonna die, like why would you laugh? Like they say people
I mean,
laugh
but
because we
isn't
know.
immortality one of the people's biggest wishes
So,
in the world?
but it's the most painful fucking thing in the
It
world. Like
is.
if
It
people
is.
actually thought about it, because like if you were immortal, why the fuck would you do anything you're doing in life? You would just be there, because like you'd be there for eternity.
Yeah,
Like why would
irrespective
you
of
do
what you do, you would
anything?
be
Why would you eat?
existent.
Why would you work? Why would you even like just do anything. You just like be where you are, because you're gonna be there for like the next billion years, because you have billion years more to do it, right?
Yeah. And also, Dan says babies laugh and they don't know. Yeah, but babies are also not capable of critical thinking. We have to teach them how to
Hmm.
critically think before they
Hmm.
are capable of
Hmm.
actually understanding the pain that actually comes by.
Baby,
But
I would
babies
say
cry
babies
because
also
of
feel.
pain.
Yeah, yeah, they cry because they're hungry, or like they shat their pants, or like there's something's wrong with them. But they do, right? So they don't understand why they do it, but they still do it.
Yeah, it's a natural reaction to what it's this
Mhm.
thing, like, that's a natural reaction to any kind of discomfort. You just cry and you
Mhm.
you you make a fuss and you try to get attention, and you're like, listen, as a baby you're probably like, dude, okay, something is happening to me right now and I need you to
Mhm.
look at me, and you're not, like, can you
Yeah,
fucking help? Like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
It's like the brain's way of like calling for help.
Yeah.
Like
And
how when you like get hurt, you like scream or something, like something. Or like, or do you just be like, ouch, with a dead face?
exactly.
Hmm.
And Anjane also asks, but if life is just
Hmm.
constant suffering, why would people want to be immortal? Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people don't consider the fact that it is
They
endless
don't
suffering.
consider. Yeah, they think it's like, oh, I'll live forever, but they don't understand the real meaning of forever.
Yeah, I mean, and
It's like,
it's also like most people are like, I want to be immortal, and then they don't realize
mm,
that they're going to see every single, and being they love die in front of their eyes,
mm,
because they are going to be
exactly.
living forever and not everyone
and
else is.
also and also immortal, like with or without aging, because if you're aging, fuck, you're just gonna be like a pile of flesh. Like
Okay,
at the
it
end
has
of
to
the
be
day.
without aging, otherwise it just makes no sense.
Why would you want to live as you get older and older and more fucked? Yeah.
Yeah,
Even, yeah, without aging also, if you want to live to do what? Like explore the world, get rich, like what?
yeah, I mean,
200 years, max 500 years. After that, you'll get bored as fuck, and you have
bored
all
as
of
fuck.
eternity after that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dan says the important part here is that they don't remember any of this suffering and they still enjoy things. Of course, they don't remember the suffering, but it's
But
also the fact that they are still suffering. It's not like they're not.
that way we enjoy things too. Like
And we
even though
forget
we are
pain too,
suffering.
right? Like we
Yeah,
also,
yeah. Mm,
even as human beings, we as grown human
mm,
beings,
mm,
adults, there is pain that we
mm, mm,
just ignore or get over and
mm,
just
mm,
let
mm.
it be, because we're like, okay, we need to focus on the good stuff, as they say.
Yeah, so there's even like babies, like humans also, we feel happiness in a lot of small moments,
Yeah.
and forget our suffering. Even like when you're watching a movie or something, you're just like in there, you're in the story. And if it's a good movie, you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah,
Listening to
and you
songs, like
temporarily forget
anything.
about everything that happened,
Mhm.
everything bad
Mm.
that happened that day. Okay, my
Yeah.
camera's back. Anyway, yeah. So Dan
Mm.
says the way I see it is happiness slash apathy is permanent and suffering is temporary. Apathy is not necessarily permanent, because you could become
Mhm.
like, you could start caring more about things instead of just being
Yeah,
apathetic
you
all the
could
time.
start caring. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Because like I would say I'm largely apathetic to the state of the world and the people in my life, but I still
Mhm.
care about certain things. Like if somebody
Mm.
came after my dog, you bet your ass I'd go after that person. But if somebody came after
Yeah, I
Sid,
think
I'd probably be
people.
like, Sid, you need to like watch out.
Yeah, I think people do have apathy, or more than brew, most of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's suffering is not temporary. Hmm.
Okay, Random Otaku is like going into like this. I think we put him into like a deep sense of anomy over here, because he's like, what is God? Is he a thing? Is he energy? Is he nature? What is
Well, that
nature?
is for you to
What is
decide.
biology though? But the
Hmm.
end goal of immortality is apathy, not suffering. And apathy usually ends up being an antidote for suffering. But if you are apathetic to everything and you are immortal, you are eventually going to suffer, because you're not going to enjoy existence. You're not going to enjoy your immortality. You're just going to be like, okay, I'm here. Fuck it.
Yeah, and
What am
like
I going to
the
do?
minute, yeah, and if you know you're immortal, then you're already apathetic, like from the beginning. Like you don't give a shit,
Yeah.
like about anything. You'll just become that way.
Not enjoying is not equal to suffering. Yeah. It's not, again, you're not going to be, by the way, Random Otaku. I think Dan is going to like roast him about something. All of your questions have an answer. It's just not, you just can never know if it's the right answer or not.
But it's for you to figure out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I mean that also ties in, like, even the question that Anjane asked is that, if do you think suffering and happiness are intertwined? I mean, according to Nietzsche, they are intertwined.
Yeah, according to Nietzsche, they are intertwined
Yeah,
because
because he said that
yeah,
suffering helps humans. It helps them become
helps
better
people
people.
happy. Exactly. Yeah, he did talk about that. Like suffering is the reason why people find worth and happiness, is what he said, right?
Yeah, and he
And
also he also
it's
said that
like the
suffering is
mind.
essential
Mhm.
for humans
Yeah,
to
it's
evolve.
essential. Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you don't suffer, according to Nietzsche, at least, I don't personally believe this part of Nietzsche's philosophy, but he said that if you don't suffer, then you will never have an opportunity, or you'll never have the actual want to become better at anything. You'll never have the actual want to be passionate and enjoy life and all that stuff.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like like suppose you want to climb a mountain, and you have to suffer to reach the top.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy. And yeah, if you want to reach the top and get that satisfaction of like fuck yes I did it, then you have to suffer to get there, to get
Yeah,
that
of course,
happiness
but I
of
also feel like it
conquering the
doesn't
fear.
it doesn't apply to everything the same way. So, for example, let's just, as an example, okay, let's say that we are okay, let's say that this podcast does go big. Okay, we
Mhm,
become like these people who talk about philosophy and talk about anime and talk about anime and
mhm.
philosophy, which is basically what we've been trying to do for a long time and it never worked out. But let's say it does work out. Are we going to, if we're going to be happy, are we going to be like satisfied with what we're doing, but at the same time we're also going to be aiming to do better with each episode?
Yeah, I definitely won't be satisfied, but yeah,
No, but you
we
won't be
always have
suffering
to.
while doing it, is my point.
You'll always be suffering to an extent, right? If you're doing something.
But is the suffering the reason that you actually want to do something better? I don't think that suffering that
No,
causes
like
us
to
to do
do
better.
something, you have to suffer. Like, suppose, like as an animator, I always need to keep practicing, how to draw, how to sketch, anatomy, all that. The process of practicing is like suffering, but I have to
Yeah,
do it in order to get better at it, right?
of course. I mean, the process of
Mm.
doing it is suffering, but I'm talking more about, like, I mean, I'm not saying it applies to everything, but for example, like
Yeah.
the podcast, if we are, it's seeds. It's not like we suffer trying to make episodes. We have fun doing the research, and then we have fun talking on camera.
Oh, yeah, of
What
course.
we do behind the scenes can be considered suffering at times because a lot of it is tedious. But we
Yeah.
always try to do better with each episode, even if we're like, okay, the last episode was good, but what can we do better now?
Yeah, of course. That's
And
there.
that's not motivated by us suffering because of the podcast. We're not like, oh my god, the last episode was such hot shit that we need to do better. We're like, okay, we can always
No,
do better, so let's try. Let's do something that makes people
yeah.
more happy or makes people more
Mm.
engaged.
Yeah, but in the end, why do you want to do better? You know,
It's a
like why
very,
you like like what is the reason? Like why you like what is the reason for you trying to improve the podcast?
because in my brain there is
Is it for you or
always
is it like to get
improvement
more
that can be had.
viewers, to get
It's
popular? Like
both,
what is
right?
the reason?
Isn't it both
Yeah,
always?
yeah.
It's because there's never one thing that you want to do to
No, but
become better.
is it no? But will your satisfaction come from it getting popular, or like is it both simultaneously? Is
It's both
what I'm saying.
simultaneously. Like, even if it does, like, I would say that it's more about just
Mhm,
doing it for the sake of doing something great or
mhm,
doing something good or
mhm,
something beautiful or something
mhm,
meaningful. Because that, like, for me, it's always about a certain level of standard that we can
mhm,
reach and then keep
mhm, mhm,
pushing it as much as we can
mhm.
go. And even if we don't get people watching it, like, it's fine. Like, for example, I never thought Anjane would join us on Twitch today. I actually thought we would have
Yeah,
no viewers on Twitch. I'm really happy that Anjane is there. And also, Anjane says, on
yeah,
an unrelated note, do you think we as a society have stopped looking for answers to these grand questions regarding spirituality and existence? Definitely. I definitely think that is a huge problem in society right now, because nobody wants to actually focus on these questions.
yeah. Like a lot of people think about it like at a certain stage in their life, but then they're like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck
And
it,
of
it's
course,
just how it is,
a lot
man.
of people, percentage of people also keep thinking about it throughout, like But yeah, most of them don't. And also, I want to bring another like so we say like they were talking about do you need to suffer to get happiness? But there is this angle like going back to Kafka, where like people see suffering as a punishment for something that made them happy or something that gives them joy. because they felt joy. Guilt is like, oh, I need to suffer as punishment, and you
Yeah,
see that
a lot of people
in
do
his
see that.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You see that in like religion, in a lot of things that make you feel guilty, even something as small as like eating something and you're like, oh shit, I ate this, now I need to like work out and suffer to
Yeah.
burn it, kind of thing. Also sexually, a lot of people who are like masochists or something, they're like, ooh, hey, it's a valid angle. The world
Uh,
of bondage is out there.
the world of bondage is out there. Yes, to be
Yeah, so there
fair to
are,
you,
yeah,
Christ.
so for a lot of reasons, suffering is punishment for something that gives you
I mean,
happiness also.
this is particularly true for Christianity because the entire religion is just based on punishment.
Exactly.
And it's just so weird because you're like, why would you, like, if you even think about what the Christian God says, it's basically that
Mhm.
you need to live a life according to how I say it should be lived, or you are going to burn in hell forever. That's it.
Mhm.
You're just going to burn. You're going to suffer.
Yeah,
You have to do exactly what I say, and you're already born
that's
with
what
sin, so you have to
Buddhism
make
do,
up for
and
your
like,
sin.
yeah.
So I mean that part doesn't make any sense to me personally. But
Yeah.
there are a
Mm.
lot of random otaku. Okay, out of the entire conversation that we're having, a random otaku asks, why would God punish us for enjoyment? It's in every universe. So God does punish you for enjoyment because you need to know what enjoyment is and what God considers okay enjoyment and non-okay enjoyment, because like a lot of sex stuff not okay for most
Yeah,
religions.
no, not okay. No,
A
yeah,
lot of
exactly.
a lot of like substances not okay for religions. So God will punish you if you get enjoyment out of those things. So it's not necessary that you're going to, you know, not be punished
Yeah,
for
I
enjoying
remember
yourself.
as a kid, because my parents are like religious, they're Hindus. I remember as a kid they had the Gita, and I like opened it and they had like pictures of like what you do and the punishments. So like if you have sex, oh, in hell there's gonna be like a fiery stick going up your ass or some shit. I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, then
Yeah.
the time I read the Gita, it was literally just like, okay, this guy masturbates over here and gives his sperm to an eagle, which then the eagle goes and carries it, and then gets attacked by something
Okay,
else,
I
and then it
haven't
falls
read
into the
that part
water.
of the Gita, but
Yeah, it's very fucked up. There's a lot of sex in the Gita, very
yeah,
weirdly.
yeah.
And Anjane says, I think anime can be a good tool for learning philosophy and practices. For example, Naruto. I mean, I have and connected to it on a deeper level. I know it sounds stupid, but I did. It doesn't sound stupid at
No,
all because it's basically what we used to talk about on this podcast. Because anime
yeah.
is, at the end of the day, literature of some kind. A lot of people discount it because they're like, oh, it's just some comic or it's just some cartoon. But I think anime puts out a lot of very interesting ideas that people, I would say, like a lot of people don't do in fiction nowadays. They found a way to
No,
merge fiction with
there is
reality.
every medium has like a
Has gems, yeah.
content that, yeah, that shows like that you can learn from, and you can think about from. It just
Of
depends
course.
on what
No,
you
but
mostly
it's just that
consume.
people think that, written literature and, movies and stuff like that are what
Yeah,
actually
but
drive
are you
ideas
really watching
forward.
movies, bro? Like, I'm
No,
not talking about the popular ones.
no. I'm saying like that's what people
Yeah,
think, right? That's what
yeah, of
society
course.
thinks. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying that
100%.
anime is a equally good and equally valid way of learning about different ideas in life.
Oh, it is as like any form of expression, if done well and done right and done thoughtfully. Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Hmm.
it's like Naruto in specific, actually, despite the storytelling problems that happened with the entire series, which we will not get into.
Yes.
Naruto
And the
talks a
photo
lot about
montage.
Buddhism.
Yeah, it does a lot. Hmm.
Naruto talks
We've
about
talked about
Buddhism.
it in a
Yeah,
couple of
we've
videos
talked about it
also.
a lot, and it has a lot of like really. Actually, my tattoo. If you look at the tattoo, I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it.
No
But
one can
basically,
see it.
I have pain is inevitable, suffering is optional tattooed on my wrist, and it was originally a Buddhist quote that I learned, and I
Yeah.
also read. I also
Jan,
read.
sorry, but Random Otaku and Foz are talking about what is a soul. They are going off on another. But yes, anyway,
Yeah,
continue. Hmm.
yeah. So I have the tattoo, and the thing is, right around this part of it,
Hmm,
there was
hmm,
a gap, and I didn't know how to fill it. So I was like, why don't you just
hmm,
put dots? And Sid was like, what if you just
hmm.
put the hidden rain village lines?
Yeah.
cut. Like Pain has it in Naruto. And I was like, holy shit, that's like a genius idea right there. I'm definitely doing that. So that's what I have. It's a combination of spirituality or philosophy and Naruto and my love for anime. So I mean, I think Naruto is a beautiful thing to start with. And yeah, wow, chat is like, wow, our chat rate is 6 right now.
What is existence? What is beginning?
Our chat rate is 6. I've never seen our chat rate go up to 6. You guys are having a lot
It's
of...
interesting. I thought people would get bored talking about shit like this, but I guess not.
Forrest Dan, suffering is optional. Meanwhile, Brew is still choosing to suffer. Hey, I'm not choosing to suffer. I'm just suffering, okay?
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just gonna suffer. I'm not even gonna try.
I mean, Dan, while I'm completely okay with you questioning Random Otaku's faith, all I ask is that if he gives an answer that you're not really comfortable with, you accept it and deal not like insult him, because I know sometimes you get pissed with what he says. And Random Otaku, again, if get into this topic only if you are okay with challenging your own beliefs and other people challenging your own beliefs about God, because it's not fair otherwise. No, I'm just saying, I just foresee this topic going into that direction, and I don't want it to become a fight between anyone. So just mentioning that.
Yeah, again, there are lots of things that you learn growing up. Like, of course, I don't know if you did, but I grew up like in a religious family, and there are lots of things when you realize that you have to maybe choose to unlearn, when you get in. But again, it's up to your own journey and how you perceive things. And
Dan, I'm not saying you're trying to dissuade him or change his beliefs. I'm just saying, like,
definitely not.
If there's something the other person is uncomfortable with, let's cut the conversation there. I'm just trying to make sure that the conversation is moderated. I just want typing practice, lol. Of course you do.
Yes.
Sid, you're gonna like this. Anjani says another anime that helps with the suffering of life is JoJo. Unfortunately for me, JoJo causes me suffering, so I can't.
Drew's never seen JoJo. It's just the memes that cause him suffering.
Oh yeah, the memes are so fucking bad. It's just so painful. Christ. I mean, there are a lot. Like, Forrest Dan made me read Trigatsu no Lion, and I was like, oh my god, that is suffering. That is pain. That is actual pain. Like, I can't deal with that. Kumaru-chan is the definition of suffering. We just mute Dan now. Existence in God. JoJo exists. I see. Well, you know what, Anjane, actually, if you also want to find us on YouTube and talk to these guys, you can have a long conversation about JoJo with these guys. Random Otaku is actually saying JoJo is God. I have found answers. JoJo is happiness.
The new JoJo religion apparently. Bro,
Christ,
this went wrong.
This is why I don't like JoJo memes. Our chat rate went up to 8. Okay, you know what? Whatever you guys are doing, just keep doing it. Like the fucking video as well. Just fucking like it.
What are your thoughts on like suffering in related to science, and like what people say suffering is like a more spiritual thing? Because I'm bringing the argument because like when people say they suffer, right? They say like if you practice mindfulness and like meditation and all these things, it'll ease that and make it better, right? What are your thoughts in regard to that? Like, spirituality and science with suffering, because I've heard like a lot of doctors are also religious, especially if you're in India. You see that, come across that a lot. And even a lot of scientists talk about like things that the body can't do, but with like meditation, mindfulness, like it's possible kind of thing. Like even if you see people like Wim Hof, right? Like the Iceman, the guy who can like climb Mount Everest like in his underwear and shit like that. Yeah, so
I mean,
taking control of that is that you like choosing to like suffer and get through it, or like escape it in some way? Because again, we don't do that shit. I'm terrible at meditating, so of course I haven't reached that place yet.
Okay, I will answer that in just a question, because Anjane says JoJo also makes you question how gay you can be without being gay.
Oh my god.
Christ.
The lollipop scene.
Oh my god, I hate that lollipop scene with every fiber of my being.
Hmm. But yeah.
Wim Hof isn't choosing to suffer. At this point, it shouldn't challenge him that much. I mean, but I definitely agree with that aspect of science and spirituality, because like I don't think that this is meditation and mindfulness came from a place of spirituality. They came more from a place of philosophy, in the sense that philosophy has always been about logic. It's never been about emotion or
Yeah.
something. Like even what Buddha said, though he lived like a gajillion years ago, and we technically don't have one single like actual thing he said from himself. It's kind of like freaking Plato and Socrates. Actually, it's like Socrates. Plato still has books, but it's like Socrates, right? Nobody knows what the fuck he actually said. Nobody knows if he even existed, because Plato might have just made him the fuck up. So
And
I
even
mean,
Socrates, I think, used to like urge like practicing death, like you should look forward to
Yeah.
like death kind
Yeah,
of
he
thing,
did,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, from the start, it's always been about reasoning out why you are doing something and what you are doing and the meaning of it. So I don't at least I don't have a problem with merging science with some things like mindfulness, because like, okay, if you think about it, every therapist or psychiatrist is going to tell you to learn to be more mindful and learn to meditate a little bit, because at the end of the day, mindfulness is about being more aware of your surroundings, being more aware
Yeah.
of your life, other people's lives, and what they are and all that, what they're going through, what they feel, all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
looking at yourself from like outside
yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
basically.
So I think mindfulness is just being more self-aware. And it's not only about mindfulness, it's also about, like, if you look at the eightfold path, or the four noble truths of
Yeah.
of Buddhism, then all of those are like reasoned out for a particular, like there's a meaning behind each one. It's not like he was like, you know what, you should just tell the truth, lel, like some Kantian ethics type of thing, where he's like, oh, if a murderer comes to your family, you have to tell them where they are, you have to tell the truth.
Yeah, just tell the truth all the time.
Yeah, so
No.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
Again, yeah,
Kant had his
even with
own
the four,
like
yeah,
reasons,
but
but he was an idiot
Hmm.
for that one point.
Yeah, you don't need to be fucking honest all the time.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, even if you talk about like the Four Noble Truths, yeah, it is like the path to, get rid of suffering, like acknowledge it.
I mean, the
avoid
first
it,
noble
and
truth is literally like life is suffering.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah. Hmm. No, but yeah, again, so yeah, it is related, and maybe it can, because like again, the brain is a mystery,
brain
like
is a very big
still
mystery. Yeah.
to a lot. And yeah, maybe a lot of times you don't think about it, but I don't know if meditation can help or not, because I haven't gotten to that stage yet.
I mean, but
don't
that's
think
the
I have a
thing.
fucking with-
That's the thing. Maybe you haven't gotten to that stage because you haven't done it consistently.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they say, like even the by the way, I don't even know why I'm shouting him out, because he's like 20 times the size of how am I saying 20 times? He's like a million times the size of us, and I've already shouted him out before, but Noah Rochetta has this podcast called
Yes,
Secular
please listen to
Buddhism.
that.
Yeah. And he talks about this very problem. He's like, people say I can't sit still for 30 minutes and just be. I have to, like, I keep thinking of things, thoughts keep coming in, I have to do something or the other. And he's like, well, do it for 5 minutes. And then do it for 5 minutes regularly, and then do it for 10 minutes maybe after a point. And just keep increasing the amount of time you can meditate. So I mean, I'm in no position to tell you what to do, because I do the same thing. I'm like, I have to sit and meditate.
No,
I'm like,
dude, I used to do it. Yeah, I used to do it. I used to do it for like a few months, and it used to feel good. Like after I did it, right?
yeah.
But I never like like actually realized that it was like improving my life in some way. Like over those, maybe you need to do it for longer, because I
You
used to do it for
definitely
5 minutes every day. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, while doing it, I was like, fuck, my back hurts. Fuck. Like my back hurts when we just stop.
But that's another thing that Noah Rochetta covers, is like you will face like issues. You'll be like, my nose itches, my arm itches, and all that shit. But you just have to accept that the thought is coming to you and just let it go.
Just let it go, yeah. Which is
Understandable.
hard. Again, it's just me who's not able to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
of
blaming
course.
the process. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it makes sense that science borrows from meditation, because it does make it makes rational sense, because that's what science is supposed to be doing. Like you can prove the effects of meditation and mindfulness in the human body, right? It always improves your mental state. It always improves levels of happiness, mainly
Yeah,
because like I'm assuming nobody's going to achieve nirvana in our lives, but
no, but the thing is like achieving, like not suppose we talk about that, like if you get to that stage,
yeah,
do you just accept the suffering and live on with it? Because a lot of people do, because you are going to suffer, right? And
yeah.
or is it just like suspension of disbelief, where you're like, whatever, like I'm not even, I don't care, like it doesn't exist kind of thing.
I feel like you just become okay, you accept whatever is going on. But then again, that is the Buddhist path, because Buddha just said,
But
oh,
that
shit's
is
going to
what,
happen, accept it, let it happen, and then know that it's going to pass.
that's what
Basically,
a
boiled
lot of us
down.
already do, right? We
Not
accept
really. A lot of us
suffering.
just, I would say a lot of us just don't accept it. We just try to get past it without ever actually accepting it.
Like for example, even a small thing, like you have to go for work tomorrow, get stuff in traffic, and you've already accepted that you are going to keep doing it.
Yeah, but I'm not accepted it in the sense that I've accepted what that carries with it. I've just accepted that it is going to happen, and I'm like, I am going to hate it. But the I am going to hate it part, a lot of people get stuck there, I feel, because they're like, okay, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But then what Buddha says, at least from what I understand, is like, okay, you are going to hate it, but accept that you hate it. And once it stops, it's going to stop at some point. But then the problem is, even this happens even with me. I'm like, okay, I have to go to work. Fuck, I have to sit in this vehicle for like an hour and a half, and then I'm like, then I have to sit at work for like 6 hours, and then eat lunch, and then I have another 3 hours, and then I have to come back again, and then I have to do the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, it's always happening. It's like never stopping. Oh my god, my life sucks. So that is what most people do. That's me. I am most people. So I mean, like, it's also about that, right? Because we're supposed to accept it and deal with it in some way, and not just let it overwhelm you, because everything will pass. Like there's a story of the ring. That too shall pass. Do you know that story? So
What story?
Oh, so the saying that this too shall pass.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
It's like a thing. Yeah, it's like this thing that it sounds like it's something that would be on Bo Burnham's White Woman's Instagram song.
Yeah. I've seen tattoos of it also. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, so people use it as this positive reinforcement, where they're like, whenever something negative happens, this too shall pass, and something good will happen. But the story is actually based in Buddhism, and what happens is there's a king who loses his son, and he is overcome with grief, and he tells his advisors to figure out a way to help him get over this grief. So they come up with this idea for a ring which he can wear and look at every day, which says, this too shall pass. And he looks at it, and every day he looks at it, and every day he looks at it, and he's like, okay, so sometime this too will pass. And he finally gets over the death of his son. He finally finds happiness in life, and then he looks at the ring and he reads, this too shall pass. And he goes back to his advisors. He's like, you assholes, you literally made me sad again because you said my happiness is going to pass. And they're like, bro, that's how it is. Like, what can we do? That's how life is.
That's makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
I mean,
again, everything too shall pass.
And that's the thing. Most people do not look at that aspect of it. They're just like, okay, the negative things, they'll go. And I'm like, the positive things are going to go too. Like, you're not going to be happy forever. Your proposal is not going to keep you, in that state of joy or euphoria for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no. Because, like, see, if you don't go through the negative things, can you really
exactly? You have to.
Positive?
It'll be like
maybe what's positive for you is like suffering for someone else.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to go through the low to appreciate the high, I guess.
I mean,
then low again. And then lower probably.
But that's the thing. Yeah. Buddha never said, like, when something goes bad, you will really like what goes good. He was like, something's going to go bad. You're going to feel bad. That's it. After that, it's going to move. And then you're going to feel something good. And then that's it. And then you're going to feel angry. And that's it. And he just kept saying it's going to be a constant state of change. And you can't really, you just have to learn to deal with it. You just have to learn to accept it and let the feeling go once the situation is done. I think that's the biggest thing, because like, let's say for example you and someone have a fight and then you make up. A lot of people still hold that resentment on some level.
Oh yeah.
So the situation is past,
Very
it's
common.
over, right? So you just have to deal with it in that way. You just have to let it go once the situation
People
is
have their
past.
own ways. Like some people like, oh, I'll just like cut it till like we see each other again. We're like, it's automatic. The problem automatically vanish kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, Nandemo Theme has called us out
If
at Nandemo podcast. Forrest Dunn says, I'm always in a high, but that's a topic for later. Okay, then. You and Sid have a lot to talk about. Anjane
I don't
says,
appreciate highs because of the lows. I never think about a low when I'm in a high.
I feel like Forrest Dunn is talking about drugs while he's on drugs. But
Happiness only has meaning because of sadness, but I can't relate. Well, because you're not really thinking about sadness when you're happy, right?
yeah, you're always
Yeah.
thinking about happiness when you're sad.
Yeah. When you're sad, you're thinking about happiness. And when you're
Yeah,
happy, you're just happy. Yeah.
yeah. And also, Anjane says, so is becoming numb to the suffering of life the answer if we can't control it? But then won't we become numb to the joys of life too? Yeah, becoming numb to something is going to be it's basically the wrong answer according to everybody I've listened to, because becoming numb means you're not enjoying yourself, you're not actually
it's
living the life you're
suffering.
meant. Yeah, you're suffering at the end of the day. You're not. You're like, even according to Buddha, you're supposed to be passionate about life. You're supposed to have that right thought, right speech, right action, all that stuff. Nietzsche said that you're supposed to always live with passion. Only passion can help humans be humans. If humans don't have passion, then they're not humans. And then even Albert Camus at the end of the day said, life is absurd, life is really weird and meaningless, but you have to make your own meaning in it. You have to embrace the absurd and make something out of it. And if you just become numb to everything, and you will definitely become numb to the joys of life, there's no point. You're better off dead at that point. Which, I mean, that's not me saying you should like die, but I'm just like talking about the ideology of it.
Yeah.
And Farzan says high and low as in happy and sad. Yeah, I realize that it just sounds like you're not talking about that. I'm not thinking about sadness ever, and I don't feel sad usually. Actually, most of the time I don't. A lot of people immediately agree with that happiness phrase, but I decay about that.
Yeah, no one ever thinks about being sad. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna be sad. Like no one actually thinks that. It's just something you feel, right?
Yeah, it's just something you feel. Also, it also depends on your age and what you're going through in life in general. The frequency of sadness.
Yeah, depends on
Existing is better than not, even when you're not enjoying things, I guess. I would disagree. There are a lot of times where I feel like not existing is much better. And Nandemo Theme says that an existential crisis of concepts of non-existence is a concept that is a thing that exists because knowledge is a thing. And okay, you need to like structure your thoughts in at least a little bit, but yeah. Let's wait for the first time I feel sad, says Forrest Dan. If you're telling me that you haven't felt sad in your life again once, that's bullshit. And also,
he definitely has like a lot of times. Like
like Audie is not in the podcast. Of course, Dan is like sad as fuck right now.
Yeah,
I can't say I feel particularly happy either. So you're in a state of apathy. You just need to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You're in a state of sadness right now, probably.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the thing is, when you're happy, you don't really. You're like, ooh, like you're just there, like in the moment, right?
Also, Dan, I didn't get my ice cream is still sadness. It might not be at the same level of sadness as certain other things, but it is still sadness.
Yeah. It may not be like death of like a family member, but it's still sadness.
Like what if all you want,
everything doesn't have to be extreme. Like, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, like what if all you wanted at the end of your work week was one freaking ice cream and you couldn't get it?
Yeah, exactly. What if you want to go to this, you save up money during the weekend, you're like, yo, I'm gonna go eat out at this place, and you go and like the food is shit, you're like, fuck,
or the place is closed and you're like, fuck, if only I'd gotten out of work earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it lasts for such little time that I wouldn't feel bad about it. That bad, you said that bad, so there's going to be some level of bad, and that's all that matters, that there is something. Anjane says being happy in general has become hard these days, and I'm not even old. Oh, I am like 27, and I can't tell you a time where I've spent one whole day being happy. I just been like,
but
at the end of every day, I'm just like, Should I have a cup of coffee or should I kill myself?
I've had days where I've been happy, I would say, and days also where I've not. Yeah, it's not as bad as brew for me. Can you still hear me? I think
Yeah, but your
this
camera
in
died.
my camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back.
Hmm.
Okay, you got stuck again.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, I'll try to fix it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Take your
So
time.
there are days where I feel both. Like I'm not like it's not like brew, but yeah,
Yeah, and
depends on a lot of things.
Dan says, nah, these days for stuff like food, I don't even get a little sad over it. After a busy day, I'd want to get an ice cream. I
Hmm.
wouldn't get it. I won't feel sad about it. Well, that depends. Are you not feeling sad about it
Hmm.
because you're apathetic to the situation, or are you not feeling sad about
Hmm.
it because you've accepted the situation and you're okay with it? You are able to let go of it. There's a stark difference in what you
Hmm.
do there. I'd wait for the next time to get an ice cream. Yeah, but that's the thing. So for the ice cream situation, you're accepting it and letting it go. But are you doing that for every
Hmm.
situation in life, or are you at the end of the day apathetic
Hmm.
because you're like, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't have an ice cream. Fuck it, I'll just get it next time. Well, this thing happened. Fuck it, it'll get better someday, or something like that. It's always a possibility that if you're not
Yeah.
facing happiness and sadness in life as a wave back and forth along with
Hmm.
other emotions, of
Hmm.
course, then you might just be becoming apathetic.
Yeah, a lot of things, dude. And also, like, you can't fuck it everything. Like, you'll have moments where, like, suppose, like, you go through a breakup, you'll have a down, and then you've new relationship high again. So, like, a lot of situations,
Yeah.
you'll feel sadness and then happiness again. And it's just like a
Yeah.
wave, basically. Hmm. But yeah.
I mean, again, like,
Hmm.
I feel like I am very apathetic because I'm like, yeah, I have to do this. Fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah, this is gonna happen. Fuck it, it's gonna happen. Oh, that's shit. Like, becoming
But
what
again, that's
apathetic
a
Nikki
result
ass.
of your situation, right? Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
You
that's the
wouldn't
thing.
be,
I'm
yeah.
definitely
Hmm.
going down that path, which is very bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I
And
should be
it's something
fixing.
you realize and accept, but it's not something I think you want to be. It's just because of a situation you're like, fuck it, kind
Yeah,
of thing,
basically.
right?
Also,
Exactly.
Anjane was saying maybe you're sad because you're eating brew flavored ice cream. Come on, why does everyone want
That
to
is
insult
fucking
me?
disgusting.
I think I don't know the proper definition of apathetic. Apathetic is where you basically just don't care about anything. That's the
Yeah,
simplest
no
definition, I would
interest,
say.
no
No interest,
enthusiasm,
no
nothing.
enthusiasm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what
indifferent
apathetic
to
is.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Indifference is like the best way to,
Mm-hmm.
because usually I've seen apathetic used with feeling sadness over something. No, apathetic is when you don't feel anything. It's like you don't
Yeah.
care about anything that's happening. You're just like, okay.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
can
a yeah,
because you can be apathetic because of suffering and sadness in your
yeah.
life.
So
But yeah, it doesn't.
nobody's apathetic because they're like enjoying life or they've embraced
Yeah.
life. It's always like
Mhm.
I've gone through so much shit in life that now I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a result of what you're going through. Because usually you wouldn't be if things were going great. Like, if you were having high, you'd be more interested in things.
Exactly. And Dan says, yeah, but when you say you don't care about it, I'd say you still feel some amount of sadness. No, not really. Like, for example,
No, like we said, right? It's a result of,
yeah,
apathy is a result of the sadness and suffering.
yeah.
You don't feel it because you're apathetic.
Then I don't know if I've accepted anything or I've become apathetic. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean it's a hard line to crack because both
Mm.
sound like they should be whatever, but one is like
Mm.
actually in like living
Mm.
in the moment, I'd say, is the difference. Because when
Mm.
you're accepting things, you're not only just saying, yeah, it's okay, it's like fuck it, I don't care.
Mm.
But when you're like, okay, I am angry, my anger is going to pass, I'm not going to make a decision out of anger, that's accepting it.
Mm. Mm.
Because like let's say if Audie fucked up in at work and my boss started shouting at him, and Audie fucked up at home, and I'm like, okay, I'm angry, but I know that Audie's gone through a tough day already, so I will try to calmly explain this, or I won't say anything for now, I'll bring it up later. That's more of accepting it, because you're like, okay, cool.
Mm.
One
Yeah, and
allows you to
that's
feel
more of
good
like,
and the other doesn't. No, that's the thing. Yeah, one allows you to feel good in the sense it's not really feeling good. It's more about being mindful and actually caring about the situation. While the other one, you're just like, I don't give a shit about you or the situation, so I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. That is apathy. And he says, oh
Yeah.
yeah, then I'd be more apathetic. And then Random Otaku said, I wrote a ball in binary code. Damn,
Great.
bro, I'll wait for the assembly code. Yes, very relevant. I like it. But yeah, I mean, like we talked about Buddha and Nietzsche, and finally, I already said a little bit about it. But Albert Camus basically said that you need to accept the absurdity of life. Like weirdly, he said it's like that episode in How I Met Your Mother where Ted is like, the word bowl sounds so weird, and he's like bowl.
Fuck are you
Bowl.
referencing right now? I have no fucking clue.
Okay, I don't know if anyone
Get your
remembers that
nerdy shit away
episode.
from me.
It sounds more like boomer shit because, like, bro, who references How I Met Your Mother in 2022?
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't even remember that I've seen that show, even though I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, Albert Camus was like, everything is weird. Like, imagine the life we're living, and how is it not absurd? How is it not absolutely stupid? And he's just like, well, it is fucking stupid, but you just have to deal with it, and you just have to accept it and live the best life that you can.
Yeah, and even if you see I'm gonna fuck up Epicurus, the Greek guy.
Yeah.
So he has the pursuit of happiness, right? When he talks about it, and he says happiness is like, he says, I think it comes from two things. One is like fear of death, and one is like punishment from God. Like in his time, he said it, and he's like, the way to attain happiness is like free from worry, like emptiness, to be in a neutral state. So see again, like that's old school. Like, like does suffering really just come from punishment from God and fear of death? No, it comes from a lot of other things. I don't think a lot of people fear death, for example, because it's coming.
Yeah,
I know people.
I mean, a lot of people do fear death, but very few people don't fear death, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly, because it's coming, and like the thing is, to keep your mind free from worries, like, is that what comes through like mindfulness and meditation, or like, because the free from worry part is like difficult, right, to be in like a neutral state about things, because as humans we feel things and it's not always difficult to be like no kind of thing, right?
It's going to be impossible. Wait, just a quick thing, I'm going to put up a picture of Albert Camus as I talk a little bit about him, because he is famous for being one of the hottest philosophers. I'm not saying that. It's just that people say that. Okay, I would like to mention that aspect of it. What the hell is this website?
That's going well. Why do you go to the New Yorker out of every website?
I don't know. I'm just like, I put open link in new tab. My bad. Sorry. Here you go. Here is Albert Camus.
Boomer energy.
How's he a boomer?
No, you opening link in new tab.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Are you getting on the hate train as well? But yeah, basically, Camus said the world itself is not reasonable, but what is absurd is the confrontation of this irrational and the desperate desire for clarity whose call echoes in the depths of man. So he basically said, okay, you know what? You guys are basically worrying too much about what it all means and what life is about. Just shut the fuck up. It makes no sense.
Chill out.
Make your own meaning for it.
Basically, it's like the argument we made earlier about like being ignorant to it versus knowing a lot about it, like thinking too much about it kind of thing, right? Like just be like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like,
so it does come down to suspension of disbelief.
It's more like you have to understand and accept how absurd the world is, but don't look meaning in the absurdism. Just accept that it's absurd. It makes no sense. It's all random.
Yeah.
But you have to codify it in your own way so that you can have something to follow. I think that was his main message. Not just that, okay, it makes no sense, so just ignore it, but make your own way in the whole thing. Also, Forrestan says, I fear of slow death, not just the process and not the outcome, but maybe I'm just being edgy. I was about to start making fun of you, bro, about the hot philosopher.
But you agree, apparently.
But yeah, I mean,
Otaku needs to sleep. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we will end probably sometime soon because we've
been going
covered
for a while,
most of our.
Oh,
yeah, we've been going for a good while. Also, Anjane says, in life with regards to suffering, you can become Naruto or Madara, both with different points of view, or you can become Neji and die for no fucking reason. Well,
Yeah.
okay, to be fair, Neji didn't die for no reason. Okay, like it's very sad that he died, but he didn't die for no reason. He died protecting a future that he believed in. So it's not like he died for no reason. The way he died, now that we can talk about, but he didn't die for no reason in the story. And also, yeah, like it's Naruto or Obito more than Madara, I would say, because
Fuck, I don't remember any of this shit to even comment on it. I've forgotten
you
why
don't remember
Neji died and how
Naruto and
he died.
Obito.
No,
Neji
I
died to a
don't.
fucking branch in the end.
I am blank. Like it's like I've never seen Naruto.
Oh my god. Wow.
But I remember that he died. Yes.
Basically. So are we going to talk about the Nietzschean philosophy of suffering in One Piece? Well, there is, I
He
would
died
say,
for Boruto's existence. Okay,
yeah.
that's a terrible reason to die, but okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say there is Nietzschean philosophy of suffering in One Piece, but there is the philosophy of suffering in One Piece. But that's there in a lot of different, like Full Metal Alchemist especially is like all about this philosophy of suffering. Like the whole idea of truth itself is basically suffering. You're like, I want knowledge, and truth is like, well, bitch, guess what? You're losing your limbs, you're losing your eyesight, you're losing your hearing. You're basically a vegetable, and you get to know what goes on behind the universe. Sounds like Drew fixed his taste. No, I could talk about the philosophy of One Piece like crazy, because like,
yeah, he has made videos on it also.
yeah,
Right?
like come on, the Mugiwara paradox, masterpiece.
Yeah, and I forgot the video. It was a really good video of like this polyglot speaking a while ago. I just remembered it when you were talking about suffering, right? And this, so he was like when we were talking about knowledge, right? The more you know, he was talking about learning languages and how when he did not know, like when he knew like one or two languages. I'm probably like summarizing it terribly, but like the more he started learning languages and learning about the world and learning about these different things, the more his suffering increased, because that's the more information he knew that he didn't have access to or couldn't go to.
So
or
basically, with more knowledge,
right?
he just suffered more and more.
Yeah, exactly, because he found out there are so many things he doesn't know, because like before that he didn't know that these things exist, right?
The
he
man learned suffering in like multiple languages.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, like there are these like poems that I'll never get the true meaning of if I don't know Arabic, or if I don't know this language, I'll never understand this side, how these people used to live. The curiosity, the more you learn, the more your curiosity increases, right? The more you get to know about things, and more the suffering increases of not knowing those things and wanting to know more, so it's like a paradox in a way. Like the more you know, the more your suffering increases, but you want to know more in order to end the suffering. So is it better to not know anything?
But again, that's my point. Even if you don't know anything, you are suffering. You're just not aware of why you're suffering. You're like, okay, you know what? I really hate this job. That this job is really making me feel like shit. I don't know why. But you're still suffering. You're still facing the same thing. Someone who understands it is. It's just you're just like ignorant.
So would you rather know why you suffer than like just suffer unknowingly?
But so that's the thing. It's this thing I've thought of a lot, because I've seen people. So I'm very torn on this, because I've seen people who have been ignorant all their lives to stuff like philosophy, and who just live, and they don't sit up at night wondering like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? That where is that purpose that I had? How do I get that back? Or how do I bring back that inner fire to achieve something? And all that shit is what I'm thinking about. But at the same time, when these people are hit with like a real problem in life, something they didn't see coming, because that's always going to happen. Their life is never going to go the way you planned. When they face heavy adversity, they're just like, I am fucked. What the fuck do I do?
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
But at the same time, I know for a fact that because I learned about Buddhism, and because I've been reading Nietzsche for a long time, and I've tried my best to, come up with my own principles for life and all that, I can handle situations better. My soft skills are crazy. In my review at work, they were like, okay, your hard skills not so great, but your soft skills,
I don't know what the fuck that lingo means. What the fuck is hard
so-
skills, soft skills?
A soft skill is basically like how you talk to people, how you manage situations, how you're
Okay,
in
I
control of
see.
your emotions, stuff like that, and how
Makes
much you
sense.
care, how much you help out others,
Mhm.
how much you know try to make things better and take
And
care of some
hard skills
things.
are like work related
Work
shit.
related, yeah.
Makes sense.
So they were like, your soft skills are much better than your hard skills. I'm like, listen, I've been working on that a lot longer, so I'm assuming, yeah, it is.
Hmm.
But Anjane says, answer to suffering is alchemy. Well, alchemy is suffering because that's what Edward learned at the end. He's like, we don't need alchemy to, live a happy or meaningful life. And he probably learned about spoken word poetry, and his suffering increased. Yeah, I've heard some spoken word poetry that definitely increased my suffering in life.
So Forrest Dan is saying, I need for me 20% of your salary, brew. I need it to end my suffering and become less ignorant of philosophy. I don't stay up at night wondering about it because the question you asked, the trick is to answer it. It is not to wonder.
Yeah, but are you ever satisfied with an answer you give yourselves? I hate it when
Mm.
people ask themselves questions about what to do with life, but they never answer themselves. So
Mm.
stupid. They're just trying to convince themselves that they're, I guess, philosophical or aware. No, it's more of like, look, I feel like I'm 60 years old right now. I don't feel like I'm 27. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, where the fuck did the energy I had like 5 years ago go? And where the fuck did my motivation to do more things go? Like, because I really thought I would be in a different place in life where I'm like that is my own personal suffering.
Mm.
So
No, but like so the thing is also what he said about what to do with life. Like you know what you wanted to do with your life. It's not something you didn't answer for yourself.
exactly, I decided
Like
what I
there are
wanted to do
things you
with
have wanted
life.
to do,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
But
there's
like
things I
it just
still want to do that are the same as what I originally
yeah,
decided.
exactly. But like again,
Life hits you
everything
hard, man.
exactly. You can't control everything,
Yeah,
you know. Lots of factors because
you're
yeah.
not
So
35.
again,
How do I look 35? You literally called me 17 at the start of the stream. Okay, now Random Otaku
who
is
is
officially going crazy.
he just wants to sleep.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
just
you
wants to
can
sleep.
go sleep if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're
Yeah, we're
done.
pretty
Or
much like
unless
we
you have
covered
something.
most of the things we wanted to talk about. With I don't think we
Mhm,
left out anything. There are people that simply
mhm,
ask those questions to feel bad and share it with others. I mean, I don't blame them, to be honest, because there is no answer at times. You're like, what is the meaning of life? And like, meaning of life is just shut the fuck up and sit down, you dumb bitch. You're like, okay,
yeah,
okay,
and it's just
I'll
a
do
way of
that. Like that doesn't
yeah.
work.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, imagine
mhm,
I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I thought the podcast would have like 500,000 followers by
mhm,
now. That's not something I can control. So I will have to keep questioning myself again and again and again and again and again until I figure out
mhm,
an answer to make the podcast get 500,000 subscribers.
mm.
And bro, I want to sleep. I'm going to miss out. Random
He's
otakus are
having
like really,
FOMO.
yeah. And Dan is
You
also
can,
interested. I'm so happy that we actually. Who would have thunk
yeah,
Sid? We just had to talk about. We just had to stop talking about shit anime.
just had to kick Audi.
Yeah, I just had to kick on. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you have to answer. I'm agreeing, but I'm just saying that sometimes there isn't an answer. If there's something data driven, like how do I get more followers on social media, I can answer that with data. But if it's something more of what do I want to do in life, it's something that I need to ask a lot of questions for and
Yeah,
never
it's a lot of
maybe reach an
'cause
answer.
the more you like as time passes, you learn more about life and learn more about yourself, and a lot of things change as those
Yeah.
things happen. So there's never like one answer. The answer will keep changing as you age, you know,
Yeah.
as you experience life.
But okay, we can wrap up now. We got 15
Mm.
views while it was live.
Arigato.
2 likes. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you better like it.
Mm.
Guys is never liking our videos. Chat rate is the highest it's
Mm.
ever been. So that's like insane. And of
Yeah.
course, Anjane, thank you for joining us on Twitch.
Thank
I hope
you.
you will be back
Yes.
for the next episode, which is going to be about love.
Let's see. Okay, sure.
Okay, I don't know what it's going to be about, but it's going to be about
I don't
something.
know.
It's going to be about
Yeah,
something
something.
fun. And Dan and
Mhm,
Nandemo Theme, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, I've never
mhm.
answered that, says Forrest Dan. Well, we can talk
Well,
about it on the
there's a
next
lot of
podcast
time.
episode.
Yeah. Mm.
But we will
Mm.
be back. We're going to be more consistent, and we're also going to be putting out stuff on social media so that we can get It out about people.
Yeah,
Love
or
exists,
maybe
we
we want.
biryani. Okay, now
Hmm.
Random Otaku has officially lost it. Okay, Random Otaku, bye. Sorry to break your mind and then kill you in this way. And thank you guys, and thank you, Anjali. Enjoy the
We'll be
conversation,
back
guys. There's
next
a lack
week.
of intelligence
Hmm.
and open conversation. Keep it up. I don't know if you're saying there's a lack of intelligence with us, but
No, there definitely is. We're dumb as hell, but yeah, we try. We
yeah,
try.
but I hope you will join us next time. It was very fun having you and talking to you
Yeah,
as well.
you can
That's it.
suggest topics also
Yeah,
along these lines,
suggest it on
But yeah,
Discord so that we can take a look at it and do it. But yeah,
yeah,
bye
join
guys.
our
Thanks a
Discord.
lot. And we
Bye.
shall be back next week. See you later. Sayonara.